Welcome to Sheriff's Talk, a public affairs program of KWN TV7. Join us every week as we talk various aspects of law enforcement and how important it is for the citizens and law enforcement to work together. Now join us for another edition of Sheriff Talk on KWN Live and Local TV Channel 7. Welcome in to this week's edition of Sheriff Talk here on KWN TV. Sheriff, welcome back.
Good to be here.
Marion County Sheriff Bo Burnett with us here on the program today.
I think Ray and all these people are tied up, aren't they?
Yeah, I talked with him earlier, and he's in a meeting, and the detectives have got some things going on. And last week we were able to introduce everybody to a new detective that he's got, and they've done some changing around. So that was good to get caught up with what was happening there. But he's unable to be here with us today. Wanted to talk about a couple of different things. This is if you're watching live, it is Election Day in the state of Super Tuesday. Georgia used to be a part of that.
I just went over and checked on the Jasper box uses my training center where we have county commission meetings for elections, and I just went over and checked on them before I come down here and make sure they set up and everything they were. I think they opened at 8. I think I went by there at 8:30, and I think 3 had voted. But today's late tonight, I guess we'll know who's going to be the front runner for the presidential thing.
Should be. Now, there's a number of...
A lot of them fell out Saturday, I think.
Yeah, I think, 3 or 2. 2
no,
of
3.
them. Was it 3?
Buttigieg and the lady from Minnesota.
Right.
Then...
the Steyer, the billionaire. Yeah. Okay. All right, one of the billionaires. Dropped out over the weekend. Now there's also local elections in Alabama and in Tennessee that are on the ballot as well.
Right. We have one contested race in Marion County. It's the trustee's office. 2 guys are running. Are both on the Democratic side, so whoever wins that today will be the tax assessor for 4 years. So that's the only contested race locally. We have road supervisors race, but we got one on the Republican side, one on the Democrat side, so that won't be settled to August.
Okay.
But actually, the only thing really on the ballot,
presidential and
that one local race, which is sparking a little bit of interest, but everything else is pretty well. And I'm afraid that when you don't have a whole lot of people on the ballot, that I'm afraid we won't have that many voted. I think they had 1,700 voted early. That's 2.5 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks of voting early. Mayor told me he had 1,700.
Well,
also I mentioned to you, the county mayor David Jackson. His mother passed away early this morning.
Yeah,
she'd been sick for quite a long time, and he sent me a text about 4:30. I was actually. Did the thunder and lightning and stuff wake you up?
It was thunder and lightning when I was up and getting ready to come into the station, and a lot of lightning. We had quite a bit of storms that rolled through. We never had any watches or warnings here, which was great.
Right.
But
of course, Nashville got hammered. And I was pouring coffee, and I had it on that National Weather Channel, and I got a sister-in-law and niece and a lot of relatives live in Mount Juliet, and I heard the lady say, well, Mount Juliet, Tennessee got hammered, and of course I run in there, and then I called my niece, and she said they had gotten, I think it happened about 1 o'clock, and they got in the closet, her and the dogs and the cat, she said, and they didn't have any damage to their place, and they all live right there and close together, but when it started to turn daylight, you could see that I think Gallatin got a lot of damage. Parts of Mount Juliet got a lot of damage, and then Cookeville got a lot of damage. And you told me there was 9 so far.
When we came on the air,
and I'm sure
9
it showed all the houses and stuff destroyed. I'm sure they'll find more people that.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing when I first went on the air this morning at 5 o'clock your time, only 2 people were officially confirmed, and they've been adding all day.
Well, they were saying this morning on the National Weather Channel that thing had a path of over 100 miles. It set down in West Tennessee and went all the way to Nashville, and then went all the way to Cookeville, then before it lifted back up or whatever.
I tell you, the unfortunate thing is, you and I were also talking about before we came on the air, folks in this area, North Alabama, Marion County, Dade County, Catoosa County, the entire tri-state area, we have firsthand knowledge of what tornadoes can do.
What year did that one hit here?
2007.
Well, I told you, that happened on a Wednesday, and I think Friday I come down here to, look, and traffic lights were out, and the traffic was terrible. And I ended up going to go up on top of the mountain, on some mountain, and I rode around out there, and you could see a lot of houses just tore right off the foundation, laying out in the field somewhere. Cars smashed and stuff, and that was bad. We know all about that stuff, don't we?
Absolutely, that's the unfortunate thing, and we know what Nashville and Cookeville and all of those areas are waking up to today.
But like I said, my sister-in-law lives in Mount Juliet, and that's a heavily populated area. I mean, it didn't rule much like it is here. I mean, there's thousands of houses and apartment houses and stuff in that area. Wilson County is what it is, and just actually a suburb of Nashville. But there's a large part. I mean, that's a bad place to have something like that because of the density of the population. Because it's heavily populated. We were there about a month ago and hadn't been over in a couple of years, and I was just amazed at the amount of houses and apartments that are being built, building new schools and stuff. So we won't really know, I guess, till later on today how bad it really is.
Absolutely, and then the rebuilding process. I understand that even here, some of the folks that have Verizon phones are affected because of the damage they've got in Nashville. A lot of folks don't really realize that we've seen it here, where a fiber optic line would be cut in Nashville, and it would affect our internet. Because depending on where it's all routed to and routed through. So hearts, prayers, and thoughts go out to families in Middle Tennessee, and the unfortunate thing that happened in the middle of the night, and I guess a lot of folks were at home.
I was talking to my sister-in-law this morning, and I didn't realize that they have an alarm system. I didn't know this, but and my niece both told me that the alarm thing woke them up.
Yeah. Now we have an alarm here now since the tornado system. They put one in where and you can hear it a couple of miles away from the city of Trenton, but it's got an alarm that goes around.
Evidently, Mount Juliet's got one too, because they don't live right in town. They live just outside town a little bit, but evidently it was loud enough that they heard it. So.
Now, I know that Jackson County and DeKalb County has put in a lot of storm shelters, and they are utilized. My daughter lives in Alabama, and they've utilized some of the shelters there, depending on when tornado warnings and things.
When I was growing up, it seemed like everybody had one of those storm shelters built into the ground.
Yeah.
You don't see them like you used to.
You don't. Dade County has got some storm shelters that are supposed to be coming through a federal grant. Does Marion County, I guess that's where I was getting to. Do y'all have any designated storm shelters?
Well, the EMA would handle it, but we would use my building, or probably use school or something. We haven't had to really do that, but I was just talking about, I can remember growing up as kids, seemed like a lot of individual people had built their own storm shelters. I can remember.
We call them the basements, or it's where you had, most of the time you just had potatoes down there with,
good place to put potatoes when you dug them.
That and
because they were
lime.
Made out,
you put a lime on
it, keep the rats out of them.
Yeah. They'll be
We were
there
talking about that yesterday. About
now, if you're under 20 or 30 or 40, even, you don't even know what we're talking about.
My uncle used to had a big old barrel, and he'd put some straw, roll potato or lay potatoes, and put lime on, then put straw, then nothing, all the way up to the top. And that, it's been years since we've eaten potatoes dug out of the garden, but best I remember, they're just as good as the ones we eat now from the store.
Oh yeah, probably a little better, because they're right out of the
Daddy always planted these potatoes in February, and they would lay underground sometimes 4 to 6 weeks before the weather warmed up, and you'd see them start breaking the ground, and the vines would grow about that high, and then had that old fork. You dig them and you go in there and flip them out, and then pull the vine off and wash them, and then take them, put them up.
Well, they have the Potato Festival down at Henniger, which a lot of folks get our television in the Henniger area, and Sand Mountain's rich in potatoes every year. They sell a lot of potatoes, potato chip companies, as I say.
We used to go out there years ago on Sand Mountain, and after they dig them, they'd leave a lot just laying.
Yeah.
And they'd let you go through there and just gather up all you want.
Yeah, because they would just.
They might have a little place
nick
on
or
the side.
something, where the scoop or whatever was getting them up.
Oh yeah, Sand
right.
Mountain's. I think it's probably one of the most popular places in the South to grow potatoes.
Lots of farmers out there have contracts with different potato chip companies. They make a lot of potatoes from Sand Mountain for sure. Right before lunch, we shouldn't be talking about that, should we?
Well, I stopped and got a sausage biscuit on the way down here. So
well, that's good.
I'm in good shape.
There you go. There ain't nothing better than fried potatoes. Anyway, we're going to take our first break. Stay with us. Sheriff Talk is on the air this week here on KWN.
Many law firms will depend solely on medical records and telephone calls to learn about a client's injuries and how best to present those injuries to an insurer or a jury. A good lawyer, however, will always attempt to communicate and meet directly with your medical care providers. At the Bandy firm, Sean Richardson or Marshall Bandy will always personally reach out to every one of your medical care providers and work with them as closely as possible in developing your case for settlement or trial. With 65 years of combined trial experience, attorney Sean Richardson and Marshall Bandy will be with you every step of the way. If you've been injured due to the negligence of another, call the Bandy firm today. They will be with you every step of the way. The Bandy firm, 706-935-STEP, or on the web at bandylaw.com. The Bandy firm, every step of the way. 706-935-STEP. That's 706-935-7837.
At Comfort Gallery in Kimball, comfort is the key. And the key to making it easier to sleep, sit, and stand is a new power lift chair from Catnapper. Catnapper's power lift chairs feature comfort coil seating for long-lasting comfort and a powerful yet smooth, quiet motor. Some models even include heat and massage. It's really comfort at the touch of a button. See the full selection today when you visit Comfort Gallery. Free delivery and setup, 1 year free layaway, and 6 and 12 months same as cash. Available at Comfort Gallery, 780 Main Street, 1 mile north of I-24, exit 152A, Kimball, Tennessee.
The Moore family name has built a legacy of trust, compassion, and peace of mind by standing with families during time of loss. Now in our 70th year, the Moore family commitment grows even stronger, from affordable, traditional services to cremation. Our experienced staff stands ready to follow through on you and your family's wishes. Since 1945, the Moore family of funeral homes, North Sand Mountain and Trenton, always dedicated to those we serve. When you need a licensed plumber, call Stacy Ledwell and the staff at Mr. Rooter in Scottsboro. Mr. Rooter provides your home or business with advanced solutions using high-tech equipment. Our commitment to customer satisfaction shines through in our personalized service. When you schedule an appointment, our professionals will dedicate time to explain the work that has to be done. Our staff will give you upfront pricing, so you'll know exactly what's involved before any work begins. We even pump septic tanks and do new construction on houses. Fully licensed, bonded, and insured, Mr. Rooter in Scottsboro. Call Stacy Ledwell today to set up an appointment at 256-574-4710.
We are back with Sheriff Talk here on KWN TV, streaming now at ITV Chattanooga. The show is not only live, but it's also on demand there, so you can catch up with past episodes of Sheriff Talk. ITV Chattanooga. You can download it on your Roku and your Fire TV and your Amazon, your Apple TV, smart TVs, ITV Chattanooga.
There's some device out there that you can get the show on.
That's right. That's right. If you have internet, you can get the show for sure, and even on demand. All right, Sheriff, there is some news from the governor of the state of Tennessee, and I'm when I first heard it, I was a little confused, but something about
People are still confused, I think.
Well, I was because, every state has a permitting process, if you will, a permitting process to carry a handgun. But he's looking to allow folks to carry one without a permit.
I understand it.
Which I don't understand where that puts. I don't understand where that puts folks that do.
Well,
have a permit.
I was on the phone with other sheriffs this weekend, and then I was talking to my state rep, Rick Tillis, yesterday. And he was wanting our insight on it.
Right.
And my suggestion was, if you live in Tennessee and you have a handgun permit and you go outside the state, and like Alabama
Right.
recognizes every state.
And Rodney, I'll call you back. Sorry about that. I'll call you back.
Every state that borders Tennessee honors Tennessee's handgun permit. What I don't understand was if you're in that, say here in Georgia and get stopped or whatever, and you don't have a handgun permit and you with a pistol, does that cause you legal problems in Georgia? Like if you had a handgun permit and you produced it, then they say, well, go on. Of course, let me say this: people that get arrested for guns, it's not your everyday citizens that's out here just going to work and doing. People, we seize a lot of guns, but these people that have them in drug houses that we hit on search warrants, and people that are involved in shootings and things like that. We seize a lot of guns, but it's people that don't need them. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think you probably seize a lot of guns, but it's usually in your other crimes are associated with.
They are usually probably 90% of the drug arrests we make. Usually we seize weapons. A lot of people just have weapons. And I know, I'm a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. I don't think you'll find anybody in law enforcement that's not. I have guns that I've collected my whole life, and I've had people call and ask me, if the federal government would show up, and start saying they're going to go house to house seize guns, what you going to do? And I said, I'm going to contest it. I'm not coming to your house to get your guns.
That's right.
I do not think that's right. That's
well,
your
it goes
gun.
against the Second Amendment, our Constitution. They can't do that.
I can't ever see that happening. Of course, I think that Second Amendment was actually passed back when it was actually passed over 200 years ago. Actually, was to protect people against their own government.
Yeah, that's what the Second Amendment was about: the right to bear arms. To be able to not have the governor. Right.
Whole different scenario back then compared to now. But
right.
I'm a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. And like I said, I talked to my state rep for a long time about it, and everybody's got an opinion on it. And my opinion was, the state of Tennessee has done real good on their money. They think they got a pile of money put back in reserves. And I said, well, do this, because I have an officer that used to teach the gun safety courses when people were getting permits. We don't see them now. We do the background check, and we see 3 or 4 a month. Used to, we was doing 40 or 50 a month. But I was talking to him about it, and I tell you, I was picking his brain a little bit about it. And he said, the thing that concerned him a lot of people that went through that course, that's the first time they'd ever handled or shot a pistol. And you're required to shoot 50 rounds, and then have about 6 to 8 hours of classroom, because you got to understand, a citizen out here falls under the same guidelines as a police officer when you use deadly force. And there's certain, I just don't want to get to the point that, if you go outside and some kid open your car door and getting the change out and starts running, you shoot him. You're gonna get charged with murder if you do that. You gotta convince people that, if you use deadly force, you were in fear of your life.
Or someone.
But my suggestion to the rep was, why not waive all the fees? State of Tennessee, I don't think state of Tennessee I'll be making money off the handgun permit. Do a background check, let them do a safety course, and then give them a handgun permit. Just waive all the fees.
Yeah, if they're unable to purchase it, don't have the money to be able to do that.
Right.
But everything else, they have the legal right to have one. So
But,
I
never want to deny a good citizen, I never want to deny them the right to have a gun. You know, if they want to go buy guns, I think they'll go buy as many as they want. I don't care.
Well, I haven't read the Tennessee. The suggestion from the governor. I don't guess it's a law yet.
According to me, according to my state rep. It's an amendment that's going to be added onto a bill. That's what they do is, they get a bill go through, then they'll add amendments on to the end of it. And evidently, this is going to be an amendment added onto it. And again, I don't want nobody to ever think that I'm against people having guns. I mean,
well, I can remember a time. Well, in Georgia, still now, you don't have to have any training to go get a gun permit. You have to go through a background check. You have to go to our probate judge's office. They take your picture. They give you an ID, a photo ID, and you pay. I think it's $75, and you get a gun permit if everything checks out through the sheriff's department. They do the normal checks and make sure you're not a felon and things like that. But there's no training in Georgia where you have to go through like there is in Tennessee. But I can remember the time back in the early 80s that an officer in Georgia, this was even an officer in Georgia that was legally qualified to carry a gun in Georgia, was not legally qualified to carry that gun in Tennessee.
Right.
A lot of things have changed over the years. You could be a deputy sheriff or a city police officer, and once you went to Chattanooga, technically, at that point in time, you wasn't able to carry a gun, concealed or unconcealed. A lot of things have changed over the years.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm sure you can remember that time.
Well, I'm just afraid that a lot of people don't understand. At what point you can use deadly force. I mean, I just want to make sure people understand. You can't just. Whether you agree with me or disagree, and reason that law's in effect years ago, I believe it was in Memphis. I believe it's a Garner versus Tennessee law, but I believe some police officers were pulled up on two guys breaking in the store, and when they pulled up, they ran. Well, the police officer shot one of the guys in the back and killed him, and then that's what reversed that, where you can't use deadly force if the danger is going away from you.
Right.
Now,
fleeing
felon law.
Right.
It's called the fleeing felon law, but of course, some people think if somebody breaking in my business, I'll be able to do whatever. I don't know. That's an opinion. I guess everybody's got an opinion.
Well, you definitely, if you've got if your life is in danger, if you feel like your life is being threatened, you're
and you can sit here and every situation is different. I personally feel like if in the middle of the night, if somebody kicked my front door open and come in my house, to me that's put me in immediate fear of my life. I'm probably going to use deadly force. Then there's other situations. Like if I walk outside and some teenagers have picked up something out of the yard and running.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, it's a slippery slope, as they say.
Very much so. We'll talk more about this. Stay with us. We're going to take another break right here on Sheriff Talk.
Hey travelers, everybody wants cheap airfares, but where can you find them? You call Smart Fares. Our prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low they're not published anywhere. Smart Fares specializes in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rentals, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, Smart Fares can help you get there cheaply and with the best price guarantee. If you want the absolute lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call us right now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these low rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the lowest rates available. So don't wait. Call Smart Fares right now for the best price guaranteed. Save up to 50% off business and first class. We've got great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 855-264-7949. That's 855-264-7949. 855-264-7949.
The Big Jet Fly. I need somebody get back, honk a cat. Where you talking about the time I go out? 854-624. Rolling on the river. Big Jet fashions and just gas. Till I reach the highest ground. The Big Jet
Can you gig it? Oh, yes, you can. We know you've been waiting for a long time, and now Tennessee Valley Net is bringing it to you. Gigabit internet service now available in certain areas of Dade County. Not just fast, super fast internet service now available from Tennessee Valley Net. People are talking, I mean really smiling about gig speed internet available in limited areas from Tennessee Valley Net. Call today at 706-657-4367 or log on at tvn.net and see if gig speed is available where you are. We know you'll gig it from Tennessee Valley Net. Have lunch or dinner at Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried chicken finger and the best chicken finger sauce in the world. Guthrie's can help you plan your family's meals or get-togethers with bucket specials every Tuesday, those delicious wings on Wednesday, and platters every day of the week. Plus, get sweet tea by the gallon. Remember, Guthrie's has a party room for small gatherings, too. Guthrie's, Highway 136 West in Trenton, home of those golden fried chicken fingers and the best chicken finger sauce in the world.
Guthrie's, not fast food, good food fast.
Back now to Sheriff Talk here in KWN, talking about guns, and of course, and we'll get into it in just a minute, that Dade County, as well as several of the counties in North Georgia and one of the counties in Tennessee, have already started the process of making their county a Second Amendment sanctuary county.
We actually was on the agenda for the commission last week, but the paperwork didn't get handed out. I think it's just a and I think Grundy County's done it, but we got it on the agenda for next month, so I'm sure it'll pass. One of the things that comes up a lot is a lot of states have passed what they call the red flag laws. And that's the thing I have I really studied on, because I actually called the Attorney General because I really didn't understand what constitutes the red flag laws. And that bill has been introduced to the legislature by a lady from Memphis and co-sponsored by another from Knoxville. But basically what that does, if for some reason I think you're a danger, whatever, I can go to court, go before the judge, and if I convince the judge that you're a danger to whatever, or if I'm mad, whatever, he can sign an order and we have to go seize their guns. Well, I just really, I really hesitant about that. I don't want to get to the point that, me and you get in the argument, I'm mad at you, and I go to the courts and I say, hey, he threatened me, and then we get a court order and go to your house. I don't want to start doing that. That really kind of, I'm probably instances where it does save lives. I'm not going to deny that. I've been trying to read up on it and study on it, but to me, that's maybe stepping over the line just a little bit. When we're
I think there needs to be some
and get their guns. I just don't want to be doing that.
I mean, in some respects, I know with your job, you don't want somebody that would harm themselves or someone else being at home and having access. I mean, so it's a, I do think that someone in authority. And I'm talking about a doctor, or psychologist, or some kind of professional person needs to make that call, I would think.
But then that's not that's not as easy as people think. Getting somebody to the point where if they got mental problems, it's under law in Tennessee, if we get called to the house and we ask the person, are you wanting to harm yourself? Yeah, I want to kill myself. Well, we have to take them in custody, take them to the hospital. They do a thing, then the doctor feel like he is, and he signs a certificate of need, then we transport him to Moxon Bend. But the problem we run into with that is we get them to the ER, and the doctor signs what they call a certificate of need. Then we transport them to Moxon Bend, and by law, we have to stay there 2 hours. So, I mean, you tie an officer up for probably 5 or 6 hours. And probably 50% of the time they get over there and they don't meet the qualifications, whatever, and they don't keep them, and we bring them back and turn them right back out, because Moxon Bend, their psychiatrist says, well, in my opinion, they don't meet the guidelines to be institutionalized there. And, we don't have anything to do but take them back and turn them loose, because, we can't put them in jail, and then the courts order mental evaluations a lot when you have, usually on murder cases in some cases, but I wondered, I wish there was some system so, we knew who legally had mental problems, but we just don't have that technology, or don't have that right now. So we just have to kind of go by, and that's like when you buy a gun, you fill that form out, and one of the questions is, are you mentally incapable or whatever? I forget what it says, and there's a yes or no question, and I mean there's kind of on your honor to answer it, but I think that's one of the biggest problems about is people that have mental problems that get a hold of a gun. I see them was it Milwaukee last week? That guy went to his place of business and killed 5 people.
Yeah, I think so. The beer company.
Company?
Yeah, the brewery.
Stuff like that worries me. I mean, but I don't want guns in the hand of those people, but evidently he hadn't done anything for anybody to have any concern about him. I think he had been in a disagreement with some fellow employees and just got mad and went and got a gun, went down there and started shooting.
Well, it's definitely.
I don't know how you ever overcome that. I don't know how you do that. I don't know. There's
case after case after case like that you have to look at it and evaluate everybody, I guess, on an individual basis. But it is extremely hard for law enforcement to look down the road and see. I mean, it's hard in that case to see what could happen. And
they just passed a law last year in Tennessee where you can carry a firearm in your vehicle and don't have to have a handgun permit. I tell people, don't push it. Just, I'll be honest with you, I don't go, if I go to somewhere, Chattanooga or somewhere shopping I just slip one under my front seat of my car. But I mean, I ain't going to get out in the parking lot and do that
right.
down there. I'm not going to draw attention to myself, but I've got a gun in the car. And I tell people to do that. You're not going to get in trouble. People that get in trouble get down there and do something crazy and get the police involved, and that's when the arrest for the gun happens.
And I do want to, and you can elaborate on this, to be able to say, if you have a gun in your car, which you have a legal right to be able to do, if you get stopped by a police officer, please inform them that it's there. Put your hands on the steering wheel when the officer walks up, windows roll down. You need to tell them, I have a firearm underneath my seat.
For my personal protection.
For your personal protection, and that officer needs to know that you're up front, and he knows.
Well, more
or
than
she
likely,
knows.
most police officers
Right.
are pretty level-headed. Even if you don't have a handgun permit, and you say, "Listen, you're covered under state law in Tennessee."
Right.
Again, you run into problems where we live. You can be in Georgia, you can be in Alabama, and the law may change. The officer I talked to yesterday that used to do classes, he said, he always took a lot of questions, and one of the questions was asked, about going into other states, because there's certain states that don't recognize Tennessee's handgun permit. New York doesn't, Illinois doesn't, Virginia. I think there's 13 states that California doesn't. Washington D.C., which is not a state, but there's 13 states that does not recognize Tennessee's handgun permit. And the officer that I was talking to yesterday that we used to do the classes said, one of the questions they always ask him, if I'm going to Florida on vacation, what do I need to do? And he says, you need to get on the internet and look up the Florida law.
Right.
Because going down there and saying, I didn't know no better is not a defense if you're in court.
They say ignorance is no defense
and
of the law.
That was his answer. Get on there, go in their state of Florida and put laws on handguns and see what you can do.
Now, that's not to say that an officer in Florida is not going to use some common sense.
I hope he would.
I hope they would too. I mean, because it all really depends on your actions and your attitude.
I've stopped a lot of people in my years on patrol, and find a gun and have a gun and talk to them there and just because back then we used to, and I never understood this law. Back used to years ago, you could have the gun in in your car, but you had to have the bullets in another place in your. And I always thought, well, what? That's not going to help you if all of a sudden you needed it.
Right.
You got to go look for the bullets and load it and everything. But,
Well, at one time, I think that you couldn't have a concealed weapon in a car except in your glove box.
yeah.
And you could put it in your glove box and lock it up for security of the gun, which I never understood that. But you couldn't have it under your seat. You had to have it in your glove box. So I thought that was interesting. I think all that has changed. That's the good thing. For those of you watching out there, if you can look these laws up because they are different in different states. And if you really want to know, I mean, look them up.
Well,
research them, and find
another
out.
question we were talking about off the air is, a lot of times in police shootings, people will say, well, and I've heard people say this, why didn't the officer try to shoot him in the leg, or why did he shoot? Well, we were on the firing range last week, and I've been going in service for 40 years and been going on the firing range. And when you go on the firing range, we try to make it as close to being in that situation, so you get to try, and you fire and you shoot here to here. And you do that for years and years and years. And then when you get in that situation, you may have 2 or 3 seconds to make that decision. When you pull your firearm to use deadly force, you're going to fall back on your training.
Right.
And training is center mass.
Right.
Exactly. An officer, if he's, they're, most of your shootings are going to be 8 to 10 foot, maybe 5 foot. You're not going to sit here and shoot halfway across the block over at somebody. It's usually going to be in close quarters, and it's just going to happen. It's going to happen in an instant. A lot of them are, and like I said, when you're in that kind of pressure, your training is what's going to guide you, and you're going to fire center mass. If you're sitting there trying to get a beat on a leg, you're probably going to get killed.
Well, a lot of people may not understand that officers, no matter what state you're in, or whether you're a city officer, county officer, state trooper, or whatever, a federal officer, state officer, you have to go through so much mandated training, and every year have to qualify.
Well, we actually try to do 4 times a year. I want my guys to shoot 4 times a year. We don't always do it. We always do at least twice or maybe 3. I think Chattanooga Police Department, I was talking to their training officer last week. We had in service last week, and they do twice a year. We try to do 4 times a year because, something that important, that daily, I think you need to have it out more and used more than once a year.
Absolutely. And just remember what we can do, whether you got a gun in your car or not. When an officer approaches the car, whether whoever the officer is, just remember that one of the most deadly things an officer will do is approach a vehicle. They don't know that if you've just robbed a bank. They don't know what type of person you are. You could be the pastor at the local church, but they do not know. They don't know who's in that car. And you have to think like the fact that I need to make it as easy on that officer when you're in a car getting stopped. You may not even know why they stopped you, but you need to let them know that you're cooperative and that you're not there to cause any type of harm, because they need to be reassured
but
too.
I think that amendment we were talking about that the governor of Tennessee's offering, I'm sure there's going to be some vigorous debate on that. I don't know when it's going to go to the House. It may go to the House this week, but I'm waiting on we're supposed to send to me. My state rep's supposed to send it to me, and I'm hoping I get it today because I'd like to review the bill. And again, that's some questions I had. People that have gone through the problems getting a handgun permit. Like I said, if you're in Georgia or Alabama, and you get stopped and show the handgun permit, then they'll honor it. But if you don't, what happens then? There's a lot of questions. I don't know. We're just, like I said, I didn't get to talk to him long, but I'd like to find out what if that's going to be debated and voted on this week, or what the deal is.
Absolutely. We're going to take another break. We're talking very interesting conversation. It's been on topics of everybody's mind here lately. We'll talk a little bit more about sanctuary counties and with the Second Amendment when we come back. Stay with us here on Sheriff Talk.
NL Tax and Bookkeeping is ready to serve all of your tax needs. Nancy Anderton's been serving the tri-state area since 1978. Now you can get your taxes prepared with no out-of-pocket expenses. Ask about up to a $1,200 refund advance. It's fast, easy, safe, and convenient. NL Tax and Bookkeeping is open 8:30 a.m. till 6:30 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, and 8:30 a.m. till 2 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. Questions about the Affordable Care Act? We have those answers too. And we offer a free form price comparison. Experienced and professional tax services. NL Tax and Bookkeeping, 500 Alabama Highway 73, 7 miles from downtown Trenton. Call today at 706-657-4758 or 256-597-2829. NL Tax and Bookkeeping, 706-657-4758 or 256-597-2829. Landers McLarty Ford of Fort Payne is your destination for quality automobile service. Landers McLarty is second to none when it comes to service on your vehicle. You can drop by and see us on Glen Boulevard Southwest in Fort Payne. Call our service department at 256-845-1101 or schedule an appointment online at LandersMcLartyFordFortPayne.com. So whether you drive a Ford or any other make of car, SUV, or truck, see our ASC certified and Ford factory trained technicians today at Landers McLarty Ford in Fort Payne.
Come enjoy pizza for lunch or dinner in a family-friendly atmosphere at Stevie B's Pizza in Fort Payne. Enjoy the buffet and salad bar anytime or have a specialty pizza made to order. At Stevie B's, take advantage of Two-Stamp Tuesday for adult and senior buffets and Thirsty Thursdays when drinks are free after 4 p.m. Take out any medium pizza weekdays between 2 and 5 for just $4.49. And on the weekends, take out any 2 large pizzas just $14.99. Book your parties now by calling Stevie B's at 256-979-1234. Stevie B's Pizza, 2200 Galt Avenue North, Fort Payne. Hey, that cold weather is coming, and it's never too early to get your winter supplies from Rising Fawn Hardware and Supply, 4300 Highway 11 South in Rising Fawn. Everything you need to wrap pipes under the house, winterize around the doors, make sure your outside faucets are protected, and keep those drafts from coming through the windows. Get your supplies for fall and winter for the home and farm today. Rising Fawn Hardware and Supply, 4300 Highway 11 South in Rising Fawn. Telephone 706-462-2071.
Back now to Sheriff Talk here on KWN, streaming at ITV Chattanooga. Of course, you can watch on-demand episodes if you missed one of the episodes of this show and other shows.
Well, yesterday I was watching the news out of Chattanooga, and they were interviewing a guy in North Chattanooga owns a indoor shooting range. It's on Hickson Pike, I think. I've been there a couple of times, and the guy was a retired Chattanooga police officer. And that was his concern was, what about training and safety? Because he said the same thing that my officer that used to do the classes said, he said, I've had people come in here that, I said, what did he say? He said, some of them didn't know which end of the gun to shoot, and he sent them through a safety course and then went over the state laws about when you can use deadly force, when you can't. And he was really, I forget his name, but he was really, concerned like I am about the safety. He's like I am. I want everybody. If they want to go buy farms, go buy them. If you got one in your house, go in the house. If you want one in your car, put it in your car. I'm never against that. But he was concerned about safety, and I think I've talked to a lot of sheriffs over the state over the last few days, and most of them are concerned about safety. We just don't want people to get out here and I know some people are going to say, well, Constitution, I'm allowed to carry a gun. I said, yeah, I'm not against that. Just
absolutely
take a little bit of time, and and if you're not, a lot of people are familiar with guns and pistols. They're going to carry them. They probably went to firing ranges and shot and everything. But Officer Powell that works for me, he said that probably half the people who went through his class over the years had never loaded a handgun and never fired it. They won't go ahead and get the permit, and he was really worried about training, and as I said, the retired Chattanooga officer that had the firing range in Hickson, he was yesterday on his interview, he was really concerned about safety and training. So I just don't want people to get out here and get themselves in a whole bunch of trouble.
Well, that's true. We're talking about sanctuary Second Amendment counties. Dade County's in the process of becoming a sanctuary Second Amendment sanctuary county. I think Walker's doing the same thing. Whitfield's doing the same thing. Squatchy County's doing the same thing.
Yeah, we're going to do it next month. Has to be passed by the commission. But I don't see any problem with it going through.
No, and a lot of people say, why would you actually need that? I've heard different folks saying that it allows the county government, if anybody tried to restrict the Second Amendment rights that we have, then the county would step up and defend it in court and and that type of thing. So I mean that's there's a lot into that ordinance.
in county commissions in Tennessee, they can't pass laws. We don't.
Right.
We can't do anything. All we could do is just do an amendment or do some kind of thing to send to the state. But as far as the commission cannot pass law. They set the budget and do a few things, but we operate off state law.
In Georgia, it's a little bit different because it's home rule, and like the county commission, they set local law by ordinance, and they can enact.
But like I said,
ordinance.
I would never see if the situation ever arose and I was still in office as sheriff, and all of a sudden, Tennessee Highway Patrol, TBI, the FBI shows up to the jail and says, we're going to start going to houses and get guns. I'm going to say, not with me.
I just,
I can't see a situation like that happen. But
ever see that happen.
I would defend the gun owners because I'm a gun owner.
Absolutely.
And I've been buying, collecting guns my whole life, and I like old vintage guns. I'm not much on this, AR-15. I don't have a problem if you want to go buy an AR-15. I don't have a problem with it. Personally, I don't have any need for one as far as guns. Because like I said, I like old guns, shotguns, and pistols. I don't know why I buy them. All I do is sit there and look at them. But I just like guns, just like cars. I like cars and guns, and I would never consent to go with people to start seizing. No, I wouldn't do that. Never.
No, I can't. I don't know of anybody in law enforcement that would do that.
No, that's the thing about people in law enforcement. Most officers want good, solid citizens to be able to carry a gun, protect themselves, because we may not be there at all times. And I think you ought to have a right to have a gun in your possession to protect yourself.
Absolutely, for sure. We'll take a quick break and we'll wrap things up when we come back. You're watching Sheriff Talk here on KWN TV.
It's Bath Wrap's Simply Transformative Celebration Sale. Call now and get $600 off your new tub or shower, plus a free designer upgrade worth $1,200. And call before the end of today's program and get a free Bath Wrap safety package. Bath Wraps can transform your tub or shower from something like this into something like this in just one day. Whether you're looking for a beautiful new tub or shower, the time is now to transform your old, outdated bathroom into the custom Bath Wrap's bathroom of your dreams. Choose from hundreds of colors, styles, patterns, accessories, and safety features like custom grab bars, no-slip shower floors, and seated showers. Your new Bath Wrap's bathroom is backed by a lifetime warranty and installed in as little as 1 day. Call now to set up your free, no-obligation consultation during Bath Wrap's Simply Transformative Celebration Sale.
Call 855-288-8412. That's 855-288-8412.
Georgia Northwestern Technical College is now accepting applications for classes. We offer programs in business, health, industrial, and public service at 6 campus locations with financial aid options as well. Take day, evening, or online classes to get your degree, diploma, or certificate. Apply now. Drop by one of our campuses today or check us out at gntc.edu. Georgia Northwestern Technical College.
Gigabit Internet residential service is now available to customers of the North Alabama Electric Co-op with NAEC Fiber in Jackson and Marshall County. Residential gig service is now available for only $79.95. Call today to have your gig service installed at 256-437-5000. High-speed fiber residential gig internet service now available to customers of the North Alabama Electric Co-op with NAEC Fiber. Business and commercial customers can get gig service too. Call for pricing 256-437-5000. Gig service from North Alabama Electric Co-op. 256-437-5000. Spring is just around the corner, and your lawn care and decisions about lawn care are soon to be on the horizon. Let me tell you about a good, dependable lawn care service that's ready to provide you honest, dependable lawn care and at a reasonable price. Holman's Lawn Care is ready to maintain your yard this spring. Call Denny Holman at 423-280-6495. Denny will be happy to provide you references and a free estimate. From residential to commercial, each lawn will be done with their personal commitment. Don't put your lawn care decision off any longer. Call Holman's Lawn Care, 423-280-6495.
Back now to Sheriff Talk here on KWN. Once again, we want to, and a lot of us, as you were just talking earlier in the show, got a sister and a niece around the Nashville area. Just remember all of those folks and emergency services, first responders, your relatives in and around Nashville. They're going to be coping with this for weeks.
They were showing one area in Nashville. I was watching it before I left, coming to work this morning. They were trying to get the fire truck out. It had tore up the fire hall, and they were power lines down in front of it, and they were trying to, trying to get out to go help, and it was showing the houses around them, and they were just demolished. And they interviewed a guy that said from the time the siren went off, they got up and run, I think he said to the bathroom, and by the time they got in the bathroom, it hit. About a 10-second, 15-second warning?
Yeah. You got to be, you got to be ready to go. That's especially in the middle of the night, something like that.
I think it's about 1:05 a.m. when it.
Yeah, I think about 2 o'clock Eastern from and 1 o'clock Central Time, so it'd be 1 o'clock local time.
Look at the weather; it's pouring down rain 6 o'clock, and it's beautiful, sunny out there now.
Yep.
I think we're supposed to get some more rain tonight and tomorrow, aren't we?
I think you're right, Sheriff.
Because there's a big storm coming out of Texas, head this way. Be here probably tomorrow sometime.
Baseball's back.
Baseball's back.
And I've watched, we air on News Radio 101.3 and 1420 air the Braves every year, and we're already running spring training games.
When does the season start? Around middle of March? April?
3rd, I think.
It's another month of training.
3rd or 4th. Yeah, we've got spring training games that we'll air all through the month. We've already done 2. This will be our 3rd one, and they'll do one every Saturday.
Are you watching XFL football?
I have a little bit.
I have too.
I have yet to, have you watched?
Some.
They've got a lot more interaction with that. You can hear what the coaches are saying. You can hear some of the times of the players. You can listen to the discussions of the refs. I don't know if I like that.
Me either.
I mean, I like it on some cases.
Of course, when I was watching the other night, and the coach called off a play, and I had no idea what he was talking about.
Oh, yeah, they come up with some
I'm sitting there
names.
going, how do those players understand that? Of course, I guess they go over and over and over it, but, a lot of those players – they're not really got a whole lot of name recognition, but they're all like big time.
Oh yeah, they played. And, I've heard him where he started with Dallas and played for San Francisco 3 years, and
he was All-American Notre Dame,
right.
was All-American in Alabama, and then just couldn't. So that really shows you how talented the NFL is.
Right,
those guys are All-Americans, and they couldn't make it.
Right, that's right. Or they made it, and they're still wanting to play, even though they're not on an NFL team anymore. Right. And this gives them some life to play.
They had pretty good crowds from what I could see.
Yeah. They're thinking this is going to make it. One of the things that I've seen, it seems like there's a lot of NFL players are getting behind this league to support it. A
lot of the coaches are ex-NFL coaches,
right.
or like Bob Stoops that coached at Oklahoma for years.
Yeah.
He's a coach, and then June Jones used to coach at the Falcons.
Right.
He's a coach. So they've got guys up there that know football. So
let's hope. I mean, I think gives you 10 more weeks of football.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to.
Is that how long the season is?
10 weeks. And so that I think they're finished up in early May. I think this was the.
So they have a playoffs
this
and all
was
that,
the
or they
third
just,
week or the fourth game, so they got 6 more weeks.
will they have a playoff?
I don't know. I haven't heard them say yet, but I do think it's kind of neat. I saw somewhere that Birmingham was, I believe it was Birmingham that would be open to an XFL team. So, you may see some other cities, of course Atlanta's got, and then Nashville. But
Dallas has got one.
And
Los
St.
Angeles
Louis
got
and,
St. Louis.
So hey, Birmingham may get one. Knoxville. I mean, I don't know if Knoxville's got a lot of football players. I do know that. But so who knows what might happen with the XFL. But we do got a lot of baseball, and you're a Braves fan, aren't you?
I am.
I thought you.
Well,
were.
I really like the Cardinals. I might have told you there's a young man from Dunlap, Dakota Hudson, that's a pitcher for his father actually is an attorney, Sam Hudson, and I've never met Dakota. It's funny. I never actually heard of him much in high school, and then he signed a scholarship with Mississippi State. Then he was the number 1 pick for the St. Louis Cardinals, and I think he had a record about 15-9 or something last year. He was pretty good. But, for somebody local to be that good, that's great. I'm glad to.
Absolutely.
Of course, he don't get as much publicity out of the Chattanooga market because I'm sure if he was with the Braves, we'd hear about him every day. But being with the Cardinals, they don't say much about him.
I'm hoping that I know the mayor in Chattanooga and several mayors across the country. I'm hoping that they can convince Major League Baseball that they don't need to trim their farm teams.
What have they ever decided what they're going
to do?
No,
not yet. I don't think they're going to know until I think probably in the off season, where they call it winter meetings. I think
next year,
this coming after this season.
Okay.
And
so
I know
we'll have the baseball in Chattanooga this year.
Oh yeah, they're in full swing. As a matter of fact, I think tickets started going on sale at the box office this week. They'll be kicking off for 1st of April too, but I think it would be a shame to see these minor league teams go away.
Right. I mean, I've been to several of those games. There's usually a crowd of 1,500 people. I mean,
it's a great way to take a family of 4 out, go to the ballpark. You can usually go out for $50-$60.
You can stand over there and those guys, they're not like the pro players. Pro players won't hardly talk to, but those guys talk to you. Then there's been several I used to go, and I'd holler at them. They'd come over and shake hands and say hi. And later on, they become superstars.
Right. Some of them, they'll sign autographs, baseballs and stuff like that. So I think there's definitely always a place. Well, we hope that you've enjoyed this week on Sheriff Talk. Join us every week right here on KWN-TV as we look at law enforcement around the tri-state area. Sheriff?
Remember election day, go vote.
That's right.
That's one of your rights. I wish more people would go vote.
Absolutely.
They're
Have a great day.
open till 7 o'clock.
Have a great day, and we'll see you next week here on Sheriff Talk. You've been watching Sheriff Talk, live from the studios of KWN TV7, all around the tri-state area, as we give you information that you can use concerning law enforcement. Join us again next week for another episode of Sheriff Talk, a public affairs program of KWN TV7.